Level 1. The Ensign. You're 17 years old. Your father, a man who spent 40 years teaching Latin in a drafty schoolhouse, collapses during Sunday dinner. The doctors in London run tests for 3 days, and the verdict is bleak. A failing heart that needs specialists your family can't afford. Your family has a few dozen pounds in savings, and you're staring at a future of clerking in a windowless office for no pay. You sit in a dim tavern at 2 a.m., staring at nothing, when a man in a tailored wool coat sits across from you. He slides an envelope across the table, a letter of credit for £450, the exact price of an ensign's commission in the 44th Regiment of Foot. He stands to leave, telling you your father helped him once, a long time ago. But 2 weeks later, after your father is stable, the man returns with others standing behind him. The money wasn't a gift, it was a loan, and the repayment is service to the Crown, 3 years of your life to clear the debt. It's a perfectly set trap that you walked into because you had no choice. You're given a scarlet tunic and told to stand on a corner in Chatham and watch. You don't know what you're protecting yet, a warehouse of textiles or a shipment of spice, and you don't ask questions because asking questions is dangerous. You're the lowest rank, a foot soldier who is entirely disposable, but you're learning how respect flows upward through invisible channels. Level 2, the Lieutenant. 3 years pass. You've proven you're not a snitch or a coward, so they promote you to lieutenant. Your job isn't just watching anymore, it's logistics. You're stationed at a remote outpost on the edge of the Bengal frontier. You're given a unit and a task. Move a package from the interior to the coast. The crates are heavy and sealed. You never open them, though sometimes they smell like saltpeter or chemicals. If you get caught by a rival faction or a local rebellion, you're on your own. The Empire doesn't bail you out. You move the product through checkpoints like it's nothing, even though your heart is trying to punch through your ribs. You're making more in a month than your father made in a year before the system broke him. You buy new boots and a silver watch, and for the first time, you feel powerful. But the risk is real. You see a fellow officer arrested for private trading and sent to a military prison. The regiment doesn't send lawyers, they just find a new lieutenant. You realize this is your life now. Debt collection, intimidation, and occasionally, the kind of violence that doesn't make the London papers. Level 3, the Captain. You're 26. You've been a soldier for the better part of a decade, and you've never failed a job. They promote you to Captain, which in the triad of Empire makes you an enforcer, a red pole. Your job isn't logistics anymore. It's violence for the sake of the bottom line. A local Raja or a tribal chief has been moving into company territory, taking customers and taking money. The colonel doesn't negotiate. He gives you an order to shut them down. You and 4 other officers arrive at midnight, armed with sabers and the authority of the Crown. You don't announce yourselves, you just start swinging. You find the rival tax collectors and beat them to the floor, breaking bones to make an example. No one reports this, no one ever does. But the other side retaliates, and for months, it's back and forth stabbings in alleys and ambushes on the road. Finally, the dragon heads, the governors, meet and draw a new line on the map. The war ends, but you're different. You've killed a man, not in passion, but because you were told to. You think about your father sometimes, eating his soup in Hampshire, having no idea what you've become to save him. Level 4, the Major. You're 32. You've made the organization tens of millions in tea and opium revenue, and you've never been caught in a scandal. You're brought into the inner circle as a major, a strategist and a fixer. You're off the streets now, managing the legitimate side of the empire. You run the district office, which on paper is clean, but underneath, it's a washing machine for dirty money. The empire generates millions from land taxes and protection money, and that cash needs to be recorded as legitimate income. You also manage the loan sharking network of the Colonial Bank, lending money to farmers at 20% interest until they can't pay, then sending the soldiers to seize their land. You wear tailored wool suits and eat at the finest clubs in Calcutta, but the Board of Trade in London is watching, building a case for administrative irregularities. You think about your initial 3-year debt. It's been 15 years now. The debt was never real. It was just the excuse they needed to own you, and you're in too deep to leave.
Level 5, the Colonel. You're 42. You run a province now, not the whole colony, but it's yours. You have 50 officers reporting to you, and you manage the supply chain of the trade with the efficiency of a CEO. Your word is law. When you give an order, it's executed without question. But you're also responsible for the mess When an officer gets into gambling debt, you pay the lawyers. When a soldier dies, you support the family to keep them quiet. You negotiate with other regional chiefs, the French, the Dutch, the local sultans. You meet in private dining rooms where a meal costs more than a private's yearly wage. You divide territories to prevent wars that would attract the attention of the London press and hurt the profits. You deal with the politicians now. They officially ban extortion, but unofficially, they use you to crush local dissent. You comply because refusal means disappearing from the record. You're at the top. You have wealth and power, but you're not free. You haven't been free since that night in the tavern. Level 6, the General. You're 50. You're a Vortvezakone, a man of the code. You don't run operations anymore. You're too high profile. Your chest is covered in medals, each one a tattoo earned through a campaign you survived or a compromise you made. You relocate to a hub like London or Singapore, coordinating global routes for arms, silk, and silver. You sit with bankers and negotiate cocaine routes through the Balkans of the era, the shipping lanes of the Mediterranean. Your wealth is in the millions, hidden in shell companies and offshore estates. But the isolation is suffocating. You can never truly go home to the person you were. Your daughter is getting married in a village in England, but you can't attend because you're managing a crisis in the Far East or avoiding a political inquiry. You watch the world through coded telegrams, alone in a villa with armed guards. You have everything and nothing. Level 7, the Viceroy. There is one more level, the Viceroy. You represent the crown in a land of millions. You live in a palace with 20-foot walls and guard towers, and your security detail is elite. You are a myth, a ghost story that parents tell their children in the hills. You've built an empire from violence and hunger for more, and you control everyone. But you don't sleep. You keep a pistol under your pillow because you know every ambitious subordinate wants your spot, and every politician in London wants you to be the scapegoat for the latest uprising. You've seen it happen to everyone before you. They all end the same way, either disgraced or dead. You tell yourself you're different, that you're smarter, but late at night, you wonder how this ends. You've climbed every rank and earned every scar, but you're just a prisoner of the life you chose. Level 8, the Reckoning. You're 70. You've retired to a rainy estate in Surrey, but it's just a supermax of your own making. You sit in a study for 23 hours a day in isolation, concrete walls of memory closing in. You think about your father. He's been dead for decades. You saved his life with blood money, and that decision destroyed yours. You're a legend now, a cautionary tale, or a ghost story, but you have nothing but time and the ghosts of everyone you hurt to get here. The Empire doesn't die with you. A new ensign is sitting in a dim tavern right now, looking at an envelope he can't afford to refuse. The cycle never ends. This is the British Empire. Ancient oaths, modern crimes. You climb to the top, but the ladder was always resting on corpses. In the end, all that's left is the debt, the one you can never repay.